district. I think it's important to note that as we look at 35 years ago today, one of the most tragic decisions that was ever made by the Supreme Court was made, and it is still the law of the land. To date, we have about 50 million abortions that have come about as a result of Roe versus Wade. A few quotes, I think, would be appropriate. Dr. Albert Schweitzer said, "If a man loses reverence for any part of life, he will lose his reverence for all of life." Mother Teresa said this concerning the Roe versus Wade decision, and this is a lengthy quote, but she said, "America needs no words from me to see how your decision in Roe versus Wade has deformed a great nation. The so-called right to abortion has pitted mothers against their children and women against men. It has sown violence and discord in the heart of the most intimate human relationships. It has aggravated the derogation of the father's role in an increasingly fatherless society. It has portrayed the greatest of gifts, a child, as a competitor, an intrusion, and an inconvenience. It has nominally accorded mothers unfettered domination over the independent lives of their physically dependent sons and daughters. And in granting this unconscionable power, it has exposed many women to unjust and selfish demands from their husbands or other sexual partners. Human rights are not a privilege conferred by government. They are every human being's entitlement by virtue of his humanity. The right to life does not depend and must not be declared to be contingent on the pleasure of anyone else, not even a parent or a sovereign." That was Mother Teresa's quote. And I think Mother Teresa, she said in one quote there basically what our founding documents and our own Constitution bring out. Certainly the Declaration of Independence was very clear when it said, "We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they're endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness." The first being the right to life. Article 5 of the Bill of Rights says that no person shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. But yet, we've had 50 million people in our society today, they have been deprived of life without due process of law. The 14th Amendment goes on and says that no state shall deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor deny to any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws. President Ronald Reagan said this quote, "Abraham Lincoln recognized that we could not survive as a free land when some men could decide that others were not fit to be free and therefore should be slaves. Likewise, we cannot survive as a free nation when some men decide that others are not fit to live and should be abandoned to abortion or infanticide. There is no cause more important for preserving human freedom than affirming the transcendent right to life of all human beings, the right without which no other rights have any meaning." And I would just hope and pray that next year at this time that we could celebrate the overturning of this tragic decision.